Samia Suluhu from Tanzania, Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, Evariste Ndayishimiye of Burundi, and Salva Kiir of South Sudan today attended a high-profile East African convention on climate change and food security. The meeting is a series of conferences by several African presidents ahead of the meeting of the United Nations dubbed Cop28 that will be held in Dubai. Africa as a continent is seeking far-reaching reforms in the funding model of climate actions, which the African presidents feel is skewed against them. Henry Tende with more.
Today's session was attended by President William Ruto, Samia Suluhu Hassan of Tanzania, Evariste Ndayishimiye of Burundi, Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, and Salva Kiir of South Sudan. Today's conference comes 5 days before world leaders meet for Cop28 summit in Dubai to discuss global climatic challenges. This is not the first time heads of states from Africa are congregating to discuss the continent's stand on global issues. In September, a high-profile Africa Climate Summit was held in Nairobi, where African leaders came up with what is now known as the Nairobi Declaration. As opposed to previous years when African countries went to such conferences with individual stand on global issues, this year heads of states have united, and one of the declarations of the summit is to push for far-reaching reforms in the United Nations funding model on combating effects of climate change.
As a region, having packaged our investment opportunities, investment in renewable energy, investment in Africa's green industrialization initiative, so that we can use the renewable resources we have, the huge resources we have around agriculture and uncultivated land, the resources we have in minerals, and of course, our human capital, the young people of our region, presenting them as opportunity for the world to invest, and so that we can unlock the potential in our region, create jobs, create prosperity, grow our economy.
Mengi tunayofanana kuliko tunayotofautiana. Hivyo kamwe tusiruhusu tofauti ndogo ndogo kutia doa uhusiano na ushirikiano wetu uliolelewa na kuenziwa na waasisi wetu.
In today's meeting, as it was in yesterday's session, the East African heads of state are planning on how to advocate for more funding for African continent during the COP28 conference. African heads of state are adamant the current funding model is discriminatory and is skewed against the continent. They are seeking to build consensus of a common push for far-reaching reforms in the United Nations funding model so that the African continent can receive more funds to address climate change effects. President Ruto remains convinced Africa has the resources necessary to reverse the adverse effects of climate change. This series of meetings is looking at presenting a united stand to increase Africa's say on global issues, and African heads of states hope their united front will bring about positive reforms. Henry Tende, Look Up TV.